Now, recently we ran a story on the best way to get a baby to sleep, and for a lot of women, co-sleeping was the answer to a good night's sleep. But the trend has experts worried, and coroners are demanding an end to the practice. In 2008, Bella Heydrich lived for only 2 hours. The newborn was put in bed with her mother in the Rockhampton Hospital so she could be breastfed. But her exhausted mother fell asleep and smothered her.
They have to be aware that it's a dangerous thing to do, and I know myself it's very tempting to share the bed with your baby.
Despite the risks, co-sleeping has become common practice in Australia. For exhausted parents, it's often the only way to calm a crying baby and get some much-needed sleep.
Cuddle your baby in bed, feed your baby in bed, that's absolutely fine, but where possible, move your baby to a separate sleeping space.
So far, repeated warnings from coroners have failed to translate to medical advice for new mums and dads. It's estimated up to 80% of parents take their baby to bed with them at some point in their first 6 months. In 2009, 123 infants died suddenly and unexpectedly in Australia. On average, 2 babies a week. For almost half, co-sleeping was the killer.
I think the concerns are that we need to do it safely. When we read some of these reports, some of the babies are not in a safe co-sleeping situation. You know, they will be on couches, sofas, armchairs. I don't think a mother will roll on her baby as long as she's sober and unmedicated. We don't fall out of bed, do we? When was the last time you fell out of bed?
And new mums are caught in the middle of this divisive debate.
The easiest thing for me, if I want to get sleep as well, is to put him in bed and breastfeed him, and sometimes we both fall asleep.
We were quite reluctant to co-sleep him because of the pressure from, society now.
I don't think I would fall asleep that heavy to smother. It doesn't anywhere definitively say don't do it.
Opponents say to truly win the battle against co-sleeping deaths, a massive turnaround in attitudes is needed.
If you were a parent and you had your baby in the car, you wouldn't not strap the child into the car seat. So really, why would you share a bed with your baby when you know there's a risk that something may happen?
Overseas, they've resorted to graphic warnings to push the anti-co-sleeping message.
This ad circulating in Milwaukee is no doubt graphic, claiming your baby sleeping with you can be just as dangerous as your baby sleeping with this butcher knife.
While no one wants shock tactics here, there are calls for doctors to take the lead in educating new mums.
It should be more a face-to-face thing by a GP or any sort of allied health professional that they come into contact with during the course of their pregnancy and delivery.
The mother is the expert about her baby. She knows what's best for her baby and her family. So we can't give mothers rules.
Technically, according to all of the research, might be right or it might be wrong, or it might not even be what you did yesterday. But some days you just get to that point where that's what you're doing, and if that's what works, that's what you'll keep doing.
How are those ads there with the knife? I mean, they're just too extreme in my book. And I think the hardest thing is every mum wants to do the right thing by their baby. When it's 2 a.m. and the kid's screaming, it's desperation. It's not necessarily sitting down and going, what's the best thing right at this second?
Our babies have been in our bed, for sure. And my wife's, we've got monitors and sensors to try to protect from SIDS, but it's, as you say, at 2 o'clock in the morning, you just want to get some sleep.
So how do you protect from rolling onto your baby? If you are the most tired you've ever been in your life, how do you know that you're not going to roll onto your baby?
I don't know, because
I
never slept with Ollie. I always had him in another cot because I was too scared that I would, But
if you've got doctors and pathologists saying it's not a good idea, and then when the coroners say it's not a good idea, it's not a good idea.
Those stats say it's not a good idea.
Maybe it's not a good idea. We're going to take a break. Back in a tick.